We were observing the photograph on page 2 of The Age this morning, which shows the Christchurch CTV building as it was before the earthquake, as it is now, and that is simply just think Ground Zero in New York. That is what, tragically, that building looks like. And I was observing to you that right next door is a business called Blackwell's Holden, the structure of which appears to be totally undamaged, and there are in fact cars on the front apron of the car yard. On a wing and a prayer, we thought, gee, it would be interesting to speak to someone from Blackwell's Holden. We're grateful for the time of Danny Meehan, sales manager at Blackwell's Holden in Christchurch. Good morning to you, Danny.
Morning, Ross. How are you?
That's the way it looks, Danny, to us, is that building next to you is completely destroyed, Ground Zero in New York terms, and next door Blackwell's Holden appears to be relatively unscathed, though, of course, we can't see the other side of the building.
No, we haven't been able to go back in since the quake, of course, but directly after the quake, when everything else was coming down, it was still standing real firm here.
Were you there when it happened?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was sitting in the front office.
So describe what it was like to be sitting in the front office of a single-storey car yard when a multi-storey building next to you collapses like a pancake.
When it first hit, I was basically sort of shaken to the ground sort of thing. When I got up and sort of headed outside sort of thing, you couldn't physically see the building because of all the dust and debris and whatever else was flying around. And then, of course, the moment that started clearing, when you could hear sort of people, shouting and screaming and yelling, and yeah, it was pretty damn terrifying, to be honest. People
yelling and screaming from inside the building?
I think mostly probably from outside, people possibly walking past, people out on the street. It was 1 o'clock, it was lunchtime, right in the middle of town, you just couldn't get any busier,
When you heard the first, and there you are sitting at your desk, you knock to the ground and you hear that first initial noise,
yep.
And then you can't see anything because of the dust. Did you think, was it in your expectation when the dust cleared that building will have collapsed to the ground?
But it was hard to actually see. As I say, it was kind of like terrifying because you left the building that I was in to go to the street, which is basically what we've been trained to sort of do, especially the amount of shakes having. And then when you go out to the street and the buildings out in the street start collapsing, you kind of you wonder where you're going to go to be safe, to be honest.
Okay, and did you wonder to yourself at the time, or think to yourself whether anyone inside that building, which is the building where they think there might be 80 to 100 people, that anyone might have survived?
To be honest with you, it's pretty hard to look at it even before it is in the mess it's now, because it just came down so quickly to truly believe that many, or if any, would survive in there.
And to the naked eye, looking at that photograph taken from the Dominion Post, Blackwell's Holden does seem to be relatively unscathed, and I know you haven't been able to go back, but is that a fair description?
Yeah, it is. We just seem to have copped, as I say, loose debris and dust and rubbish, but the building itself is still perfectly standing. I think even right outside, our flags are still floating away as like every normal day.
And those cars that we can see in the photograph in our local newspaper on the front apron, everyone would understand how car dealerships work. Would they be undamaged?
I don't think they would have been hit by anything necessarily heavy to start with, but what sort of surface damage they might have suffered, it won't know until you get back to inspect it. That area is obviously being completely cordoned off right around the centre of the CBD there. So there's no one can get back in to know that, but yeah, it doesn't appear like anything structural's hit them, but yeah, any surface damage we won't know until we get back in there.
It seems extraordinary that in a building where, sadly, dozens and dozens of people may have died, would have next to it a car yard in which the cars in the front yard are undamaged. Can you how could you describe to us the sound of that building collapsing, Danny?
It's like a sound of, I guess, real low down thunder noise, and it doesn't collapse fast like you think it would. You see it on TV and other times buildings it just seems to go down in slow motion. Although it's only a matter of seconds, it just seems to fold down in front of you like a deck of cards in slow motion. very, very, very scary. It's pretty scary. Considering, when we were, as I say, maybe no more than 30 metres away, and I walk up my office and I see those people go to work every day and that sort of thing, and, 30 metres away from them, we're perfectly safe.
I was going to ask you that, Danny. Do you know many of the folks who worked in the building?
Don't know many of them directly personally. Know a lot of them to say good day to, because basically, walk past them most mornings. They walk past our yard most mornings. One or two might stop and say good day. But I don't know any of them directly personally, just to say hi to.
Did you walk out?
Yes. Walked out initially till we got out in the street. Basically, we sort of all got together and made sure that every of us was out of the building. We had assigned wardens, which did a sort of a roll call off. My next thing I did then was try to obviously get hold of the wife and kids. Had no luck there, being cell phones, everything down sort of thing. Jumped in the first available car, try and get to my wife. Probably got 2 minutes up the road and we were jammed in.
Okay, Danny, we thank you for your time. There you are, you're working away. Next thing, the building next to you has collapsed with 80 to 100 people in it. Were you in shock at any stage?
Definitely was, and probably still am, to be fair. Every time we look on the TV, it's still heartrending to know that over 60 people and possibly more that were working right beside you 20 feet away are gone. It's just something that's going to stay with me for some time, to be honest.
Danny, we thank you. Good luck with all of that, and we thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you, Ross.
Danny Meehan, sales manager at Blackwell's Holden in Christchurch. If you can get a look at page 2 of The Age this morning to see...
It is a remarkable photograph.
Remarkable contrast, and there is Blackwell's Holden, unscathed. Cars on the front apron, unscathed, presumably still able to be sold as new vehicles. That was Danny Meehan, their sales manager.